My name is Pär Almkvist. I'm CEO and co-founder of Tracklib. Tracklib is actually the world's first and only record store for sampling. It's a really unique service where you can, as a music producer or artist, visit and find music from all over the world, from any genre, from any era. So this is real released recorded music that ranges from Isaac Hayes. We even have previously unreleased multi-tracks by Isaac Hayes, to China Recording Company, one of the oldest record labels in China, over to hidden Brazilian gems. Really a lot of music that you might not have even heard before, but things that get you really excited as a producer. So you use Tracklib to really find music and get it in high quality, master quality, and then you can use it in your studio, and you know that every song you listen to and download can be easily cleared in just a few minutes for as little as $50. So over the past 2 years, we've seen a lot of releases come out with Tracklib samples, ranging from super mega hits like last year's Middle Child by J. Cole, and several releases by Brockhampton and Fantagram and DJ Khaled and Jordan J, The Hymn out of the Netherlands as well, and Mike Magoo. So sort of music all across genres, obviously hip-hop, R&B, but also a lot of electronic music, house music, EDM. And it's been interesting for us to see how sampling is different between genres and how the historical practice has been. But, one of them, house, where it used to be sort of short chops or a vocal that powers a whole song as well. I mean, that was the missing piece. You might be a prolific house producer, but you might not have access to an amazing vocalist. So that's why a lot of, obviously, soul was sampled, not least, in a lot of classic house. We were able to bring that back since we also have multi-tracks. So you can find isolated soul vocals from the 70s, the kind of missing ingredient that, you've experienced in the studio. So now it's time to pass the mic to our head of artist and label relations, the eminent Mr. Magnus MB Bergkvist.
I'm Magnus, and I work with the catalog at Tracklib, finding new music and having day-to-day conversations with labels. And I'm also a producer, beatmaker as well. To me, the biggest problem with samples is actually getting them cleared. It can be a hassle, to say the least. Sometimes I can lose the feel of the song because it takes so long to clear them. It can take like a year or 2 years and a lot of legal issues. So to me, Tracklib is the answer to my childhood dreams, pretty much. The catalog is really big, covers up almost all kinds of music I ever heard. It's a lot of soul, funk, jazz, psychedelic music, a lot of disco, hip-hop, some trap stuff. And we're constantly filling up with new music. We're on the search for great music all the time. When I look for new music for Tracklib, for the catalog, it's usually I try to not discriminate any music, like to be too narrow. This is what I would like to sample, or I think they would like to sample this or that, because you can never tell what people want to sample. I mean, people find great samples from all types of sources. I think producers really appreciate that it's so fast and affordable to actually clear a sample. You can basically get in there, download a sample and make a track out of it, and the same night you can have a license in your hand for releasing it. So it's a really fast operation and abundance of tracks that you can choose from. And you already know what you're gonna pay when you get in there and you make the track. You pay a download fee and you pay a licensing fee, and then you pay for the derivative track that you made. You share a percentage to the original composers and you're ready to go.
Now it's that special time where we pass the mic to super electronic producer Tobtok to see how he uses Tracklib and what his thoughts are on Tracklib. So over to Tobtok.
My name is Tobias, aka Tobtok, which is my artist name, and I produce mainly house music, and I come from a small city in Sweden called Uppsala, but I'm currently based out of Stockholm. My relationship with sampling has always been like a love relationship. I've always sampled music ever since I started out. That's actually how I started making music. I discovered disco when I was around 17 years old, and that kind of sparked my interest into electronic music as a whole. And the first productions I did was all sample-based music. There's something special with like taking something old and that's been released, and it's always like if you use something that's been recorded in the 70s, it's gonna have that sound, which is really hard to emulate. I have a sweet spot for the 70s and the 80s. I think that's kind of where most of my inspiration and my sample sound comes from. I love old disco and old funk and even old pop and rock music. I've messed around with a few samples from that era. And I also love the old drum machines from the 80s. And I try to use those in a lot of my tracks. House music and sampling go hand in hand. I mean, that's how house music started. I think it's like the 70s and 80s, they did re-edits on disco tracks to work on the dance floor, and they had to like make it from the floor to work with mixing it. If you look at house from the 80s, it's all sampled, like it's all disco tracks that they put beats on, and it has really inspired the whole scene. The craft of sampling is still very relevant today. There's a lot of tracks that's out there that you think is original, but it's actually sampled. It's like it's everywhere in different forms. So the importance is still today, like 40 years later, is still very much alive and very important. Here we got Tracklib, and I was thinking for a demonstration, I want to do like a kind of like a French house kind of record, like an old disco or soul sample, like something a bit funky, to do like a filter house kind of vibe to it. So I've been using the search function here, and you can search for like different kind of genres, and I chose R&B and soul. We got song keys here if you want to follow a certain key, which is amazing. And then we got different kind of elements. So we got either like, just if you want some drums or guitars or vocals, which is really useful. Tempo, BPM, it's really good. Release year, it's quite fun if you want like a special era. And I've chosen like the golden days of disco music. And then we got region, North America. And then you also got the license category, how much you're willing to pay for the sample. And we got a few different options here. We can check what we have. Baby. Quite a nice record. Not really the vibe I'm looking for. This is quite cool. I mean, as an option, you can just take the bass here if you want and just chop it up. But so the track I've decided on is actually found here, and it's called Can't Stop Loving You by Soul Dog. So some of you might have heard this sample from The Weeknd and Kanye West. And it has like a really nice piano, which I love. I love my pianos, and it's quite a like clear chops in this record. So it would be very easy to sample this. So the original tempo is 153 BPM. So I've prepared the sample here in Reason, and what I'm gonna do now is I can play the sample. Here's the bits that I've used. So yeah, we got the sample, like the bits I want to use for this. And a good way to start would be to get it in the actual right tempo. So right now it's in like half tempo, but in 153 BPM. So what I want to do is I want to get it into 122 BPM. And the way I'm gonna do it is like this. I'm gonna take the first hit here. So we got the first hit, and now we're gonna use the grid as a guideline to find the proper timing for the sample. So let's see. So we gotta speed it up basically. So it would probably, let's experiment, see what happens. Maybe something like this. Oh, that sounds very fast. Let's use the clip. Almost. It's just I think this is gonna be right. Oh, it's quite accurate. So now we just need to tighten it up. It's quite simple when you just look at the whole sample and what makes sense with the drums. Sounds quite tight actually. And then we can quantize it to make it even more, and then we might have to do some adjustments. There we go. It's a bit off here. Now we gotta tighten it up a bit, this hit here. So let's see what we got now. Okay, so now we got the sample in the correct tempo, and now it's just a matter of chopping it up and play around with it however you wanna use a sample. Just get creative. So I really like this, like these piano hits, so I think that's what I'm gonna use. So let's see here. So let's play around with them. Let's find the groove. Then see if we can use any of this. Maybe this is pretty cool. So let's see. Let's play around with it and find the right rhythm that you want. Now I wanna get something new in there. Oh, that sounds pretty good. So yeah, maybe this is the loop. Let's do an actual loop here. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So straight away we have something like pretty new here. So obviously we have like a lot of drum hits that we would be good to get rid of if you want to put like actual like house drums on top of them. So the way I would do that is by let's get my go-to VSTs here. So probably like just a simple EQ. This one from Fab Filter is pretty good. Get the low end out first. So get all these muddy sounds out of the way. Maybe boost the high frequencies a bit. And get rid of the hiss stuff. You won't be needing those. Some people can't even hear those. Like the older people can't even hear those frequencies. Me included. I got a hearing as a 43-year-old apparently. Anyway, so and a good way to get more drums out of the way, or like get a rhythm going with this, would be to add a side chain. Gives it a bounce, and you get rid of some of the drums that you don't want. So this is quite pumping, a good way to start out. And let's see. And if you want to have like a proper French house vibe to it, you want to add like a flanger or a phaser. So let's find a cool sound for this. Oh, there we go. Just a bit more subtle. So we got a pretty good loop going here, and yeah, and then it's just a matter of like you can just loop it, add to it, and yeah, maybe mess around with some filters to like make it build a bit. So I would just start out low like this, then do a little automation. Yeah, to make it rise a bit. It's a bit stepped, so it sounds a bit weird, but does the job. There we go. Nice little normal, like natural riser. Yeah, we got a French house vibe, Daft Punk style. What we want to do next is just add some drums. We recently got some good stock drums here. Let's see, 707 kick. Nice. Let's see what we got here. Old school. Maybe add a hi-hat. I don't know. Let's see. Hi-hats. Can't go wrong with 909. Where do we want to put these? There we go. Oops. There we go. And that's kind of like, it's not harder than that. That's kind of a great like start of a record. It's that's the good thing about sampling. Like you have the core element there already, and then you just have to add to it and build on it, which is makes the creative flow much better, and it's a lot of fun. It's great. And then I've actually found a vocal that I like here, and I think I found it just searching for an a cappella on Tracklib. And I decided on I think it was a track from 2009. So I'm mixing different periods of time here. And this one is quite close. It's 121 BPM, so it's quite close to my BPM that I have right now, which is 122. So, and I've prepared the a cappella here. Just so you can hear how it sounds like. Let's see if it sounds any good. I know that you can. I know that you can. yeah, it's like two different tracks from two different time periods mashed together to something completely new, which is like, that's the art of sampling, pretty much. It's like remixing to something that's never been heard before, which is, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So we built Tracklib for you as a producer and artist, and we want to give you the chance to try it out for free. So if you go to tracklib.com/spinnin and sign up today, you'll get 30 days free, the whole service for 30 days, no strings attached. So go to tracklib.com/spinnin today.